I argued it was unethical, illegal, and unconstitutional. And when this comes out, all hell is going to break loose.
I think the government's going to launch an investigation. I think they're going to say I've committed grave crimes. I've violated the Espionage Act. They're going to say I've aided our enemies in making them aware of these systems. But that argument can be made against anybody who reveals information that points out mass surveillance systems.
Mass surveillance of Americans for profit? That's what AT&T is doing, according to a report out Tuesday from the Daily Beast. The report digs into the company's Hemisphere program, which was revealed in 2013 when the New York Times reported that AT&T had partnered with the government to help investigate. But the Daily Beast says new documents show it's more than a so-called partnership because AT&T allegedly charges the agencies it works with for access to its data.
NSA, user data. You have 1.1 million users, billion. You have more data than any entity in the world. And it's all of our data, and we care a lot about it, and we don't want people necessarily getting it and then using it to do bad things. What I want to know is what Mark Zuckerberg thinks about these issues and our right to privacy versus the government.
Yeah, so we take our role really seriously. I think it's my job and our job to protect everyone who uses Facebook and all the information that they share with us. Facebook is an idealistic and optimistic company. For most of our existence, we focused on all of the good that connecting people can do. And as Facebook has grown, people everywhere have gotten a powerful new tool for staying connected to the people they love, for making their voices heard, and for building communities and businesses. But it's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well. We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
What we do not do is spy unlawfully on Americans, or for that matter, spy indiscriminately on the citizens of any country.
The fact is that they've gone into the communications links, picture undersea cables between Google and Yahoo servers. Now, the reason you would do this is because they are overseas, therefore they would fall outside of the oversight of the U.S. government. They could access them without seeking a court approval under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Here's what the NSA said when we went to them today. They said, quote, "The assertion that we collect vast quantities of U.S. persons' data from this type of collection is not true. The NSA applies Attorney General approved processes to protect the privacy of U.S. persons." Now, notice in that statement they say we do not go after U.S. citizens, no mention of foreign citizens, for instance. And earlier today, the NSA chief said we do not go after servers. He does not mention communications links. So in effect, the NSA confirming the essence of the story here.
Now, labeled one of New York City's weirdest and most iconic skyscrapers, 33 Thomas Street has been a source of mystery for many years. Constructed and owned by AT&T, this faceless concrete tower has been linked to the NSA.
This New York City skyscraper is one of the most important assets to the NSA. Known as the AT&T Long Lines building, the 550-foot tall tower has 29 floors with 3 levels and has not one single window in its walls. But for many years, the New York skyscraper located at 33 Thomas Street has been a source of mystery.
I knew the AT&T building because I had worked nearby there for a while. And it always seemed kind of mysterious because there's no windows, and I knew it was all electronics inside.
Formerly known as Project X, an AT&T subsidiary commissioned the tower to house long-distance phone lines. Completed in 1974, it was built to withstand an atomic blast. The architect even made plans to include enough food, water, and generate fuel to sustain 1,500 people for 2 weeks during a catastrophic loss of power.
You know, we had seen a couple floors of racks of electronics, and then all of a sudden we walk by and there's this big space with big, I said, "Are those battery jars?" And he said, "Yeah, that's our backup power."
But now it appears the building served another purpose. Aside from housing landlines, powerful computers, and switchboards, the mysterious building also doubles as a wiretapping facility that targets calls, faxes, and internet traffic, according to an article in The Intercept. The National Security Agency refers to the tower as Titan Point.
Telecom giant AT&T pioneered a data collection program that gathered hundreds of billions of internet records for the National Security Agency. It's called the Fairview program and started back in 2003, according to a report from the New York Times. The NSA said the program was like having a live presence on the global net for data collection. It sent more than 1 million emails a day to the NSA headquarters. The story also claims AT&T began providing 1.1 billion cell phone records a day to the spy agency.
What I discovered in 2003 was that they were tying into the main internet data stream. So these documents confirm that. There's actually a paragraph in there that talks about in September 2003, the NSA went live on the internet because of the installations at AT&T. In late 2002, we heard there was a installation going in at a nearby office, which turned out was an NSA installation because the NSA actually showed up at my office, that they were sweeping up everybody's communications, not just AT&T customers, but anybody and other companies who were not aware of this arrangement back then. They were sweeping up all that stuff without any selection because the apparatus they were using to sweep it up with had no intelligence. It was just a blind sweep of everything, which told me right then and there that was unconstitutional.
A warning tonight straight out of Minority Report.
How those assorted tank tops work out for you?
From Samsung, your smart TV is watching you.
Go to Smart Hub.
The latest technology that turns your voice into a remote so that you can scan YouTube, choose a movie, or change channels just by speaking can also hear your private conversations.
YouTube.
We gave Samsung's latest model a test.
Once I press this button,
Everything I say into this device is getting recorded and could be shared with a third party.
It's as cool as it is creepy.
People have this expectation that the conversations that they have in their own home or what they choose to watch, this kind of data is really private.
Samsung's privacy policy telling consumers, please be aware that if your spoken words include personal or other information, they will be captured and transmitted to a third party. The company adding that they do this to improve the features of their televisions.
Alexa, do you work for the NSA? Alexa, do you work for the NSA? Okay. Alexa, do you work for the government?
I can't find the answer to the question I heard.
Alexa, do you work for the government? Yes or no?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question I heard.
Alexa, do you work for the government?
Sorry, I can't find the answer to the question I heard.
Alexa, can the CIA get information from Amazon? Alexa, can the CIA get information from Amazon? Alexa, can the CIA get information from Amazon?
We've been telling you for months now about the growing power of the big tech companies whose brand of surveillance capitalism has come to shape our politics and culture in ways that many people don't perceive. We want to give you a very specific example of that. It's both a look into the near future and a terrifying illustration of the control these companies seek over our daily lives. We recently reviewed several patents filed by Google. As we describe them, ask yourself if you're comfortable giving this much power to unelected technocrats you have never met. In the first patent, filed in September of 2016, Google envisions how it could send you personalized advertising based on what a camera observes in your home. In the illustration that Google submitted to the federal government, the Patent Office, a camera in your bedroom sees a Godfather novel on your nightstand next to your bed and uses that to steer you to watching the movie. If you think that's creepy, Prepare yourself because it gets a lot creepier. In another patent application from September 2016, Google imagines how it could take control of your parenting, your relationship with your children. Google's smart home system could detect children near a liquor cabinet, for example, or in their parents' bedroom, infer that, quote, mischief is occurring, and deliver a verbal warning. In another example, Google imagines a hypothetical child called Benjamin. Google's cameras would be watching Benjamin at all times, carefully. They could see if he's playing outside or using electronics. Presumably, they'd also try to use that information to sell him things at some point, because that's the whole point of Google. The same patent also discusses how the smart home could coach families on, quote, areas of improvement. For example, if a family doesn't spend enough time together, eating together, in Google's estimation, Google might scold them and suggest that they set a goal of eating more often together. That is Google's description, not ours, by the way. We contacted Google for comment on this, and the company, and we're assuming it was a person and not a robot, replied this way, quote, we file patent applications on a variety of ideas that our employees come up with. Some of those ideas later mature into real products or services, some don't. In other words, don't worry, we're not spying on you yet. We just have the patent for it.
A surprising new report suggests that Yahoo spied on its customers' email accounts for the government. Reuters reports the company last year used a secret surveillance program. It allegedly scanned hundreds of millions of Yahoo mail accounts at the request of the National Security Agency, or FBI. The report is based on the accounts of anonymous former Yahoo employees. In a statement to CBS News, the company says this: Yahoo is a law-abiding company and complies with the laws of the United States.
This is a very big deal. It's very intense, it's new, and it's quite surprising.
Because?
Because what's happened since the Snowden revelations a couple of years ago, Silicon Valley has been contesting most of the government's efforts to spy on it. What appears to have happened last year is the government went to Yahoo and said, hey, we want to spy on all the incoming mail to all Yahoo accounts. Will you build us something that makes it easy to do that?
So they created a special software.
They created special software that would scan every incoming Yahoo message for a certain phrase or keyword. We don't know what the phrase or keyword was, would store those in a special place for the government, and did it in real time. That is real active cooperation. That's different and new.
And the question is, what world was the government looking for that would make Yahoo do this?